could feel my body tensing up. That's when I could feel myself feeling anxious and almost wanting to puke up. Hi everyone, I'm going to be sharing something very, very vulnerable with you in real time, because I wanted to show you how I deal with very, very stressful situation, how I deal with it now as I'm going through it. So like how I'm going to start this, because I'm still like, my body is still shaking. My body is in panic mode at the moment. It's in trauma response at the moment. My body is feeling like something is happening that is life-threatening. My body is reacting in that survival mechanism. So at the moment it's feeling in either fight, flight, or freeze response. It's going through that motion. So basically my body thinks that I am going to die in some way, and that's what it feels like when you're having a panic attack, when you're feeling overwhelmed, feeling stressed out. We'll often feel this when we're working or something is out of control. So I'm going to be sharing with you what's happening in my life so that you can see, and I can explain to you what I did to manage this. And now, even though I'm feeling those feelings right now, I'm still able to do these live videos with you. And I've come to a more calmer state, but it doesn't mean that I'm completely calm, because the last bit I'm going to be doing after I finish this video. But I wanted to share with you what goes on with me as I process through this trauma response. So what happened is that like my daughter and I, we go to England maybe 2 to 3 times a year. Lately it's only been twice a year since COVID. And because we moved to a different location, this is our garden. Yes, the lawn needs cutting, and but the UK has changed some of its regulations. So now when we go back into the UK, they need a visa. And because my daughter was born in France, yeah, she needs the visa, but it's okay for me because I've got a British passport. So I thought to myself, since they're like faffing around with visas, I may as well apply for her UK passport, because apparently you can have a dual passport. She can have a French passport and a UK passport. And I thought to myself, well, just in case whatever happens in the future, we never know what's going to happen. Oh, it's what better time than ever to apply for her UK passport instead of faffing around with visas every time we go and visit there. And I gave myself enough time. I thought the passport application process says it takes 4 weeks, and I allowed 9 weeks for it to get processed. I thought that's plenty of time. I followed everything on the internet to the T. I made sure I had all the documents and I did everything properly. And I thought, wow, that was kind of easy. I was kind of thinking, yay, this is brilliant. You know, I thought it was going to be a lot more complicated. You know, we have the greatest plans in the world, and then in reality it doesn't go according to plan, because life happens. And this is what happened. When I sent the files to the UK government for her passport application to be processed, I thought, because I paid friggin' €15 for it to be sent there, signed, that it would take maybe 2 to 3 days. From France. It took 2 weeks for it to even arrive in their office. I just received 2 emails from the government office saying that her ID, the person that verified her ID, is not valid, so I have to find someone else, which is not family. And it's just not validation. They have to go online and they have to do their bit, so you have to rely on someone else out of your control. The second thing, they said that they need the original birth certificate. Well, I sent them the original, but it's not the original with the embossed stuff that we have in the UK or any other country. In France, it's like a photocopy and they stamp it, but apparently that's not acceptable. So I've had to go back to them and find out, well, what are you expecting, because that's the original. Secondly, they want it legally translated, which means I have to find someone that is official that they will accept. And hey, look, we live in the middle of nowhere, so I have to travel into the nearest town, which is almost about an hour and a half from here. Thank goodness it's not even that far, but still, not only do I have to find them, and I spent all morning trying to find someone that can do it, I don't even know whether it's going to be good enough for the UK government. And the third most important thing, I want her passport back because taking into calculation everything that I'm going to have to do on top of what I thought was an easy process, it's going to take some time. I've then had to go through all sorts of emailing, telephone calls and everything this morning, and I finally had to succumb that they only had one process. I had to send them the things that I was concerned about, plus request for her passport to be sent back so that we can travel to the UK while keeping the file open. Everything is all out of my hands right now. I'm asking a lot of things that I know my application is probably one of thousands that they probably get daily. And secondly, I don't even know if it's possible they're going to send my passport back before the application is done. Hang on a sec, I'm going to put the blinds down because I'm scared that my phone is going to be overheating in the sun. Just hold on a moment. Okay, so while I kind of came to the realization this is not going to be as easy as I thought it was going to be, I did some self-regulating exercises to get me into a place where I'm not panicking in this trauma response. Because what happens is when we act in this trauma response, and I could feel my body tensing up, that's when I could feel myself feeling anxious and almost wanting to puke up, because I knew that if I don't get the passport back for my daughter, we can't go to the UK. And then that's our flights cancelled. That's hundreds of euros we spent on flights wasted. That's us not going to the UK, that we haven't seen them since Christmas. There's a lot at stake here if we don't get her passport back. So obviously I'm in there in panic mode. So I had to get my body regulated first. And I'll share with you what I did at the end of this video. But then after I self-regulated, that's when I contacted who I needed to contacted the people that can do the certified translations that they want. But what I used to do before I did this work, before the healing and the understanding of how we create reality, I would then stress out all day. I would ruminate about it. I'd be having a freaking anxiety attack all day. I'd be stressed out, and I would probably feel like that for several hours before I would naturally calm down. But now I've decided that I've done my best and I'm going to trim the grass. So that's literally what I'm going to do now, after I've done everything. But I wanted to show you one of the things that I did to self-regulate. So as soon as I felt those trauma responses in my body, one of the things that I really like to do, it really gives me a bit of a headache sometimes, or like an eye ache. So, you know, like for me, it was worth it just to have a bit of eye ache so that I could feel calm. And so what I did is, like, I stretched my arms left to right, keep my head forward, and I would move my eyes, if you can see my eyes, my eyeballs left, right, as far left as I could, and then right, and then left, and then right. And I continued doing that while thinking about the stress of the passport, what's going on. And what happens is that it does this funky thing in our minds. I'm not going to share with you technical things that goes on in our brains. I'm going to keep it as simple as possible. So basically, if you think about all our trauma, the reason why we have trauma and the reason why we keep feeling the way we do is because we've taken a screenshot of the event and we're not letting it go. That's why we have things like binge eating. That's why we have things like alcoholism. That's why we have things like addictions. And that's why we have all sorts of emotional, cognitive problems, not because there's something actually physically going on right now. Like right now, I'm not being eaten by lions. I'm not being attacked by anybody. I'm not in actual physical danger, but my brain has taken a screenshot of the event and is repeating it on like a stuck record, but it's charging it with something that makes me feel like it's in danger. So what it's doing is that, like, when I'm looking left to right, it's actually nudging it out of that screenshot and moving it and making it more malleable so that it starts healing, it starts releasing it out of the body. Just like if we cut ourselves and it's open, if we keep reopening it and reopening it, it's never ever going to heal. It's never ever going to do its stuff. And what we do is, with the trauma response, we keep going in there and reactivating the trauma. And that's why we end up, like I said, with all these cognitive problems, because we're not allowing ourselves to heal. And by doing that technique, by moving my eyes left and right, I'm nudging it out so that it can process and work its way out of my body, because that's what I wanted. Another thing which I love doing and I do is shake like this. I'm going to take my mic off so it doesn't sound funky. I shake. Maybe give a bit of a scream if you're up to it. Shake, shake. So what does that do? It's basically what the animals do. So if you've noticed in nature, you'll notice, like, a lot of animals, if they ever get like attacked, like let's say for example a deer got attacked by a lion and it managed to get out and it escaped and the lion's gone, the danger's gone. Lion animals often, they shake because they're shaking the trauma out of their body. They're getting their nervous system back to normal. By doing the shaking, that's another way to get your body back to calmness. That's another way to get yourself back to now. You're safe. You're not in danger. Even though, like I said, all those things before, there is a reason for me to think it's panicky and everything, but it's not doing my system any good by staying in there. I need to get my cognitive, mental self back. I need to feel calm again so I can think clearly, because while we're in those survival behaviors, what we don't realize is that we have a biological mechanism where, if we're in that survival instincts, that those behaviors, it's very difficult for us to access our intelligence. It's very difficult for us to access our minds. So for rational thinking, to problem solve, because all the energy is in our body. And it does make sense, because back in the day, when there were real dangers, like being attacked by another tribe, being eaten by animals, and like we were fighting for survival, we needed as much energy in our body so that we can fight, we can survive another day, and we don't need to think. We just needed to be physical. We needed to fight. We needed to survive. So we need to preserve all the energy from thinking, which really drains our body, into into what we really need the most, and which is energy in our body, so that we can continue and survive another day. But in today's world, we don't need that. I need my brain back. I need my brain back, because this is what is going to help me respond to what needs to happen next. I don't want to be in this trauma response, and that's why the shaking, the eye thing is what I did. And finally, I learned this morning. One of my friends recommended it, so I'm going to try it, and I did it for a while. So I thought, you may as well. You can't have too much of a good thing sometimes. So I say that sometimes because, if you're binge eating, you can have too much of a good thing. So, and then you like put your hand in the butterfly thing and you keep tapping like that. It actually felt good. So I think it helped for a bit. So I tapped and tapped, and that helped me calm. So I did that as soon as I realized the reality of what was going on, so that I could get my brain back, so I can deal with the situation. I dealt with it. Now I'm letting it go because I can't do anything more. I feel better, especially like now sharing with you what I'm doing. And now I'm about to cut the grass, which I'm not really, I'm kind of not sure. I might wait until later, but yeah, I might do it a little bit so that it helps me calm down. So I'm going to do something completely different. That's what my process is when I'm facing a challenging situation. First of all, recognize the trauma response in my body. Second, self-regulate. Third, deal with it if you can, because if you're self-regulated, you got your brain back, it's not in your body, you can think properly. Deal with it. It's just a problem to be resolved. And then once that's done, let it go. You've done your best. Let it go. It's out of our hands. It's out of control. The only reason you've got a trauma response is because you think it's out of your control, which is, it's out of your control. You can't do anything about it. You can only do your best. And then if you want more self-regulating exercises, the things that I shared with you. And then finally, do something fun. Do something that will take your mind off it. For me, it's got to be physical. If I'm doing something that is not physical, my mind will tend to want to wander back and reactivate those trauma responses. But now I'm going to cut the grass because that is so therapeutic for me. And then I'll just carry on with my day and just hope everything works out okay. I'll keep you updated what goes on, whether or not we get the passport or not. If not, it's the lessons for next time, right? I hope you appreciated this video. Until next time, take care. Love you. Thank you for watching. Mwah. Bye.